Welcome to Next to Madison, a podcast to help you live your best life.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Next to Madison. This is episode 130. We are back. We are talking with a guest today about self-care. That's the main topic because we always hear about it. It is so important to take care of yourself because if you haven't taken care of you, you can't take care of anyone else. And the particular guest we have on today was actually on a reality show, popular reality show called Temptation Island. Yes, you heard me right. And watching herself back kind of led to this awakening of self-care and how important that was, and going into, Reiki and breath work and all this stuff. So please stay tuned. We're going to be back with our guest who's going to dive into this topic about how you can better take care of yourself to make sure you're living your best life. I'd like to welcome Kate Griffith to the Next to Madison podcast. How are you?
I am good. How are you, Madison?
I'm good. Okay, so I talked a little bit about how you were on Temptation Island in my intro, so I want to go into that. So just start there. How did you even see the casting to get involved with this?
Yeah, so I actually didn't see the casting. It was my boyfriend at the time that saw the casting. He's the one who signed us up, went through that whole process, and then told me later, like, hey, guess what? I signed us up for the show. We're going to go through the casting process. And I was like, what? And I remember Temptation Island from when it was on in like the early 2000s. And my boyfriend at that time was 6 years younger than me. So he probably didn't even know about it, that it was, in the early 2000s, it was a show and it came back. So I was like, no, I'm not doing this. But, kind of fast forward through that process, I was at a point in my life where I wasn't confident enough to say no. I wasn't in like full alignment. I wasn't like fully grounded in who I am. So I was just like, okay, maybe I'll do it. You go through the interview process, you go through the casting process, and it's human nature for you to want people to like you. So like you want them to like you when you're being interviewed, but at the same time, they like you because your relationship that you're getting ready to go on the show, because it's a relationship show about people who are already in relationships, they're looking for the train wreck. They're not looking for the, oh, this relationship is so great, they're so sweet, they're so loving. Like they're looking for the drama. So it's funny because you want them to like you, but at the same time, they like you because you're a train wreck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. People don't think about that.
Yeah. So we go through the process. Again, I wasn't in full alignment. I wasn't confident enough to say no. They chose us. They chose us to be on the show. 4 couples go on the show. They live on an island. Men live in one house. Women live in another house. And then the reason it's called Temptation Island is because they throw in men, 20 men, I believe, into a house of 4 women that are in a relationship. And then temptation is the whole point. It's the whole point of the show, name of the game. And they're trying to tempt you to, cheat on your significant other, see if there's something else out there. So it is for couples who are at a point in their life where they're kind of at a crossroads, not sure what they're going to do. And over, the course of, I believe, a month, we were there. So much happened. You come back from the show after filming, and when you get back, you're like, whoa, okay, all of that just happened, and some not great stuff. We'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
On his end, not on mine.
Okay.
You get back and you're like, okay, that's gonna air. Like people are going to watch what just happened. And so you're living in sort of a state of fear in the meantime, waiting for this show to be produced and go out to the public. And then you have to watch yourself. So people don't realize reality TV, obviously it happened months before, but you've just been living in a state of fear, like waiting for this to come out and not know what's going to be shown, not know how it's going to be edited. Luckily, I get a really nice edit. I look like the girl next door. But watching myself back, I'm like, first of all, the fact that I was even there shows how out of alignment I was with my true self. The fact that I was there showed that I wasn't grounded enough in my own self, confident enough to say, no, I'm not doing this, not me. But watching myself back sort of pushed me to say, okay, I am so out of alignment. Where do I go? What do I do next? And it's really, pushed me down this path of self-care, self-awareness, intuition, and led me to a place where I have been working with a healer and energy work and doing energy work. And then it really helped me to find my passion in energy work as well. So overall, it was a great experience because it's really pushed me out of my comfort zone to do these things that I have such a passion for and such a purpose. Um, but all the while, I feel like it was the universe plan to be like, all right, we tried to get this girl's attention so many times to show her how out of alignment she was, and the path she was going down was just continuing, so full out of alignment. So how do we pull her back? The universe is very humorous in that way, and landed me in reality TV.
That's an amazing experience though, if you think about it. Like, just it's amazing how certain things happen in our lives where we're like, it seems so crazy at the time, but you're like, wow, that was really meant to be. And you're able to kind of recognize it. But yeah, because if you hadn't done that show, you might not have started. I think your journey would have eventually gotten you there, but maybe you wouldn't have gotten there as quickly.
Yeah, totally. I'm a huge believer in everything happens for a reason. So I believe that it did. And yeah, I'm grateful for the experience now. And it gave me the ability, though, to see things in my own life as they're happening, as if I'm sort of watching it. It gave me the ability to sort of just watch from above, kind of understand what is going on, even now, like in today. I can do that because it gave me that ability to like look a little deeper, like do a little more soul searching. And again, it's that self-awareness that has really pushed my life into a totally different direction.
Yeah, I mean, did you like change jobs after that, or did you stay on with the job you had?
Yeah, so going into this, I actually had to leave the job that I was at because I'd only been there for a year. And obviously, they weren't going to give me, basically 6-7 weeks off for filming.
Yeah.
And actually, I couldn't even tell them what I was doing. And I was sort of embarrassed of what I was doing, actually. And I probably wouldn't have told them anyway. So I had to leave that job. And I came back after the show. To add to the drama, I didn't have a job and I had been in sales, had a successful career in sales for, 11 years at that point. So I came back from the show and I do work in corporate America still. And, but it's just, a different company. So I did have to come back and, realign there as well.
So when you got back and you started this journey of self-care, what were kind of the first steps you took?
Yeah. So for me, it was really about things that I had done in the past. So kind of where my comfort zones lie. Like I was someone who was big on journaling, but I got into this relationship again. I let that pull me out of alignment. Sort of like that was sort of my cycle actually, was sort of always, get validation, get into a relationship, hang out with a guy, and then all of a sudden forget about your own self-care. So I really went back to the things that I knew that I loved. So journaling, exercise has always been a part of my daily life, but really diving into that in more in an intuitive manner, what my body was asking for, rather than just like pushing through workouts and high intensity training, which I do love, but I do it more with intention. Also, I started just reading books. I started going down the path of like all the good, juicy self-help books.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I began working with a healer. So I had done breath work in the past. So I had done my first breathwork session probably about 6-7 years ago. And so I was like, okay, this is good. I like it. It was a little much for me because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to go there in my own mind. I wasn't ready for that healing that happens when you do energy work. But I was like, you know what? I love that the few times that I did it. Let me look for someone. Let me look for someone who's local. So I found a good healer. I found a good healer locally. I began working with her, and it was more of a coaching setting. And she helped to really like help me see what I wasn't seeing. Sometimes it takes that. Sometimes through the conversation, you actually work through whatever it is that you're going through as well. And then through the energy work as well.
So what is the healing process like? Like, how does that work?
Yeah.
How does it start? Like, what's the whole process behind that?
Yeah, so I mean, it depends on who you're working with, and everyone has a different style. Everyone has obviously a different need as well. But for me, I really just needed an outside source, someone that I trusted though, to just start to like shed the layers of myself that I saw when I was on TV that I didn't like, that I didn't really connect with any longer. So it was first starting there. So talking through it. And, one of the most important questions that was asked was like, do you really believe, like wholeheartedly, that you deserve the life of your dreams? And I had to like take a step back. And I remember that one hitting me really hard. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I really believe that because my actions weren't showing that. And that was the question that sort of like made me realize, okay, do I believe that? So we really started to dive into not only talking through situations, not only talking through that, but diving into the limiting beliefs. And, it's so hard to admit to them sometimes. But once you get it off your chest, it's almost as if like the healing begins then. It begins the moment that you're honest with yourself. And then when you let it out and you express it, and then you do some of the, the good, juicy energy work that really lets it just go, you feel like a brand new person. So it is a very, very, I would say, customized approach. And I think that every healer has a different approach. The healer that I work with, it was met, like my needs were met with her holding space, allowing me just to get it out, to vent. And then there's like the, mystic part of it. I mean, the mystic part of energy healing that I registered with and it worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think for people who are looking for healers or anyone, there has to be an energetic match. And so, I always say that now that I have my own healing business as well, I always say we have to be an energetic match. It has to work on both ends, has to make sense for me to hold space for you and for you to feel and get the true results. So, this healer that I reached out to, there was a reason I reached out to her, the reason we began to work together. And again, it was just that energetic match.
That's great. Cause you brought up an interesting point where it's like, you ask yourself, do you deserve to live your best life? Mm-hmm. And the answer is yes, we all do. But when we go and we ask ourselves that, it can be somewhat of a feeling of like a pit in your stomach where you're like, do I, or maybe it's like this guilt or something of that sort, or it's kind of like standing up for what you believe and what you truly want. And I think a lot of people struggle with this, especially in like romantic relationships, where they want to set boundaries and they want this type of relationship that they've created in their mind, so to say. Yeah. But they don't then know how to accept themselves because maybe they think that they're coming off in an unattractive way, so they don't set those boundaries. And I think that's a big part of living your best life too, is just knowing, like, here's an example that I can just think that not an example, but just like if you're dating and you're in a new relationship and you're not ready to sleep with the person, how do you confidently express that without damaging the relationship? That shouldn't even be a question. Right. It's just, I'm not ready. I don't need to explain myself to you. And if you do, you walk out the fucking door. But we've all struggled with that. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, because we think we're gonna validate the relationship, validate the feelings by moving through the motions, but then the motions at the end of the day actually make us feel worse, rather than just moving through what feels right. What feel like if you ask yourself intuitively. But I think that sometimes when there's another individual involved, then our intuition sort of just goes out the window. And if we're not ready for something, we should be able to voice it. It's our authentic self. But I think that so many people are so far away from their authentic self. They've been pushed so far away from that, that coming back to it is hard to do. So you go through the motions because you want to be liked. You want to move forward. You want these things, but you're not asking yourself, is it right for you? You're usually asking yourself, is it right for the other individual who is involved? That always happens so often in relationships.
Yeah, it completely does. Sorry if you guys can hear this echo. She's not hearing it on our end, so hopefully it won't be an issue. So just ignore it. But yeah, so what is like a day now that you've kind of done this healing? Walk us through just like a typical day. Because I want to consider you like a healed person. It's like, what's the day like of a healed, authentic human being?
So the funny part is healing's a lifelong journey. So I would never even say I'm healed. You know, I have worked through things to find my authentic self, but once you know and you have that self-awareness of who you are, I believe that you also want to care for yourself so deeply. And so I think that in return then leads to, you know, living a life full of intention. So everything I do is with intention, it's with heart. So, you know, to answer your question, every day is a little different based off of what my needs are. So I do wake up really early because I need that white space in my morning, whether I use that white space before my workday starts to meditate. Maybe I use it just to go for a walk. Maybe I have a workout planned, you know, whatever it is. You know, this morning I woke up early and asked that I could, you know, make my mushroom latte. Which, you know, again, that is with intention. It's done with intention because I know it's healthy. It's going into my body. I send it love before I enjoy it. I sit in peace and quiet and kind of like wait for the rest of the world to wake up. And then, and you know, my walk to my Pilates class that I went to this morning was with intention. So it's just walking calmly, you know, being able to look around, try to enjoy the like fall air here in the Northeast. And it's met with intention because that's what I need. And I go to my Pilates class and it's burning, I'm shaking, it hurts. But I meet that always with love and intention. So my intention is to, you know, work on muscles that I haven't worked, because Pilates is something that I love so much. And those long lean muscles. So when it's burning, instead of like thinking of it burning, you know, I believe that I send energy to those muscles and just send them love and like, woof, yeah, my ass hurts right now, but girl, like you're gonna like it later. You know, it's always met with just, you know, something, you know, something more than just like, oh shit, this hurts. And so that's really how I you know, live throughout my day. And I feel like when energy and intention meet your actions, then you have rituals rather than just routines. And I know ritual and routine, they can use them interchangeably, but for me, a ritual is more, you know, again, meaningful. It's really juicy, it feels good, and it sets a tone for my day and really raises the vibration and the energy that I'm going to carry with me throughout.
No, that's really, because they always say when, you know, people that talk about meditation, it's so important to do it like right when you wake up. But I feel that so many of us put ourselves in such hectic, busy schedules, or we just need that, you know, that few more minutes of sleep, so to say, that we don't do that. But I like the fact that like everything you do in the morning is like with an intention. So I'm guessing you don't wake up going, ugh, it's Monday.
Yeah, no, but I know better than to do that. You know, like I know better than to set that tone, because if I set that tone, like that's what I'm rolling with. And that tone is going to then enter into my relationship, into my friendships, into the way that I move. I'll probably skip the gym. And I've been there and that happens. But to avoid that, you know, I set the tone with my own energy. And you know, there's nothing better than sitting in the morning and asking yourself, at least for me, and asking myself, you know, like, how are you doing? Like, what's going on? Because we ask everybody around us, you know, Madison, how's it going? You know, sometimes we get the bullshit answer of, oh, I'm good. You know, okay, how are you? But when you actually ask yourself and you're so honest with yourself, and you sort of check like your emotional inventory, you know, the goofy words, but your emotional inventory, it's like, okay, how am I doing? And the things that feel good, and what's happening that feels good, you know, here in my heart, and like, how do I get more of that? You know, tell the universe more, you know, yes, please, thank you, I love this feels good. Like send that signal to the universe, you want more of that. And if there are things that don't feel so good, that are negative in your life, then take note of it. And maybe there's a way to turn that negative thought around. Okay, you know, stressing out, I don't know, like I'm moving and moving is stressful. Okay, great. But moving is also means it's a new start, it's a new chapter. Maybe you're moving in with someone that you love so much. Like there's always a way to turn it around. Acknowledge that you feel stressed, acknowledge that you feel that way, but then ask yourself, what's the positive? Like how can you pivot that feeling, that emotion, so you can stay in a higher frequency? So that emotional inventory for me is really important, because I think I'm kind of an emotional being. I think we all are deep down. A lot of us just tend to suppress it a little bit. And I was there, I've been there. And it's so important for me not to suppress it, to really just let it out, acknowledge and let it move on, whatever the feeling is.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, that's very well said. Checking in with yourself, because we definitely don't do that. I can't remember the last time or if I've really kind of done that. I'll feel things, but I don't really kind of check in saying like, why are you having anxiety about this, or negative assumptions,
Yeah.
versus like, okay, what's going on with you that you're not confident enough to be able to express yourself in this way, And I like what you said too about the move, because I'm getting ready to relocate back to New York.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a little uneasy, just because it's like I'm not ready to sign a full commitment yet. So it's going to be living out of a suitcase a little bit. And I was a little kind of excited, but there was some anxiety around it. There was a little bit of resentment of the person that was forcing me back to New York at this time for 5 weeks, when I didn't feel I needed to be there at this time. But you're exactly right, is I need to be looking at it through, look at all the stuff that could happen, or this is life's way of telling you, you need to be in New York, because whatever's going to happen in New York is not going to happen where you currently are. And
Yeah.
living out of a suitcase might actually be a really good thing, because it's a way to simplify your life and enjoy more of the things. And somebody also told me, I was talking to my sister-in-law, and she said, it's kind of exciting if when you're staying at a place that's not like, I'm renting a room from a friend, that's not yours and will never feel your home and is not going to be your home, because it's a week to week type thing. You're going to be out of the house more, doing more, versus if it's your home, you're going to say, oh, I'm exhausted, I've had a long week, I'm going to sit on the couch and watch a movie. You don't do that shit when you're not at somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's going to force me to be out. So I like the fact that it's like looking at it, change the attitude and the intention around it.
Yeah, and with something like that, like you can change the thought around it. And sometimes it will be something that is repetitive that's happening in your life. And then you realize like you need to take an action, or you need to set a boundary around this. For you, this is a good way to like turn it around. But for me, there were times where I was journaling in the morning. And I love journaling in the morning because I think it's just that, head to heart connection. And you just sort of like let it flow through your arm, pen to paper, and just let it out.
Mm-hmm.
But I was journaling regularly on, I was I guess for, a heavy drinker, and I was using alcohol to suppress. And when things would happen, it was like it would suppress with alcohol. I would, also celebrate with alcohol. So, and it didn't make me feel good. I deep down, I probably think I'm allergic to it, because all the symptoms that I was getting from it kind of point towards that. But regardless, it wasn't good for me. So I would write in my journal day after day, and I was like, okay, I'm writing about this. I feel like shit. I feel groggy. I feel fatigued. Like all of these things. I forced myself to get my workout in. Like,
yeah,
whatever it was. And I was like, this isn't right for me in my life. Like, and it's on paper. You can't run from it. You can't suppress it. It's right in front of you. And then it's like, okay, you know what? I need to take action. I'm not going to sit here for another day and another day and another week, another year, another whatever it is, and see this repetitive pattern happen. And it's also going back to that question. It's like, do you believe that you deserve the life of your dreams? If you believe you deserve the life of your dreams, you're not going to keep going with a habit, behavior that isn't right for you. And when you start to live in this place of, everything has intention and meaning, and you have something that has so little meaning to you, then you realize like it's time. It's time to let it go. Time to stop. Again, so it's that action and that boundary that you sometimes can't run from when you see it on paper.
So you said you were allergic to booze. It's funny you said that, because I just woke up with the worst hangover on Sunday after going out for Halloween.
Yeah.
And every time I was going out with my friend, I was just preparing myself to feel like shit the next day, which is so not
Mhm.
normal. And I would try to stick to the same booze or whatnot. And I'm at a point. So, and I was telling my mom, I'm like, I think I'm allergic to booze.
Mhm.
But what were some of your symptoms that you were having?
Yeah, so for me, like the moment I take a sip, I start to sneeze. My hands and feet will start to feel swollen. I can feel it in my stomach. And then my hangovers would just last for so long. And it didn't matter how much I would have to drink, I would have the worst hangover. I would just feel super lethargic. It would take a couple of days. And they say it takes a couple of days for alcohol to process and be out of your system. But for me, it was just so long that I was like, I am not living life to the fullest. And if I believe I deserve the life of my dreams, then I can't wake up this way. I can't wake up with this hangover. I can't journal on this one day longer. So those were really my symptoms, which I think maybe in your 30s, those are everyone's symptoms. Uh, I noticed around like 31, 32 is when my symptoms became a little bit stronger. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's not an allergy. Maybe it's just my age.
I know. Well, that's what it sucks too, is like I'll have this conversation with my friends and sometimes we'll start hearing people say, oh, I'm too old for that. I'm too old for that. I'm like, I hate when people say they're too old for it. Like, because one day we're going to look back and we're saying, wait, we're so young. Why didn't we do
Mhm.
this? Like, blah, blah, blah. But there are
Yeah,
certain things. You're never too old to party, but you are too old to party really hard with booze. You
yeah,
can party without
yeah,
booze because life
totally. So
is celebrated.
yeah, I was actually in Vegas this a week ago, and I associate Vegas with being wasted. Like I don't know Vegas sober. Like I don't know what that is. So going, I was a little bit intimidated. I was like, okay, I'm probably gonna go to bed early. Like I'm gonna be, I'm gonna feel like, I'm not part of the party because of. And it was so the opposite. Like because it's been about a year and a half, 2 years since I stopped drinking. Um, I had so much fun. Most everyone I was hanging out with was a little younger than me, but we had so much fun. If it wouldn't have been for the fact that like they saw me getting water or whatever, they would have no idea that I wasn't drinking. And it was until the last day that we were there that a few people were like, "You haven't been drinking this whole time." I was up till 3 a.m. with them, hanging out, dancing, laughing, partying, having fun. So
Great.
I've had to realign like the thoughts and I mean our whole life is based off of our thoughts, right? And I have had to, reassess the things that I associate with alcohol only. And that was actually my fear in giving it up was like, I'm not going to be able to go on a boat. I used to live in Florida and going on a boat is like, you only drink on a boat. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to go on a boat. I'm not going to be able to, do things in the summer, go to a pool party. I'm not going to be able to go to Vegas, like vacations. Like, what am I going to do on vacations if I'm not drinking? Like, I associate so many things with alcohol. So it's been so like liberating and there's been so much freedom in letting it go and just like being.
I mean, that's so well said because I think it's all of us are so used to this certain pattern, and it's kind of like when you let it go. Because I remember, I wouldn't go out a ton. Like when I was back in New York, I wouldn't go out a ton. But when I would go out and I would have a good time. And but doing comedy and like being out at night, like I would never drink with comedy because it's your
Right.
job. And
Right.
some comics they would have a drink or they would have a drink
Right.
after, and I just never did. So it's like I never associated stand-up comedy with alcohol, so I never needed it and I could still be laughing and have the best time. So it's
Right.
just breaking that association in a way. Like if I just went out and tried to drink, but here's the thing is too, like, and it's hard to remember, but if you have one glass of water in between each drink, you're for me, you're not hungover. The problem
Mhm.
is you forget.
Yeah, of course. And
Like
I mean,
drinks and then water, it can be too late.
yeah, and if you're going to the bar and you're asking for a water, like you might as well ask for a drink.
I
And then the water will just sit there. Like there's so many things. But yeah, I don't know. For me, it was like just super refreshing to like give it up and realize there's still a life without it. And for me, it was more freedom. There's freedom on the other side of it. Um, and when I talk about it, like through Instagram or whatever, people reach out all the time. There's very, very much a sober, curious crowd out there that are fearful of giving it up just because in society, it's what we do. It's how we celebrate. It's what we do when we're sad. It's what we do through a breakup. It's what we do on holidays. But that's always determinant on like what we believe we're going to do.
Yeah, that makes sense because right, because it's just like the hangovers, you're not living your best life when you're spending one day a week feeling like shit so you could have 6 hours of fun the night before.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, something's just not in alignment here, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And for me, it's like all about being an energetic match. So everything that I have called into my life in the past couple of years has really been because I'm in that energetic alignment. So when you talk about manifestation and calling things into your life, like you have to be in the energetic match. So if every other day I'm in an energetic match of hungover, like what am I gonna like call in? More hangovers? So I really have to, be in that right mindset and more like in a purer mindset, at least for me. And I have no judgment towards anyone who drinks. Like it was so much fun, like watching my friends get drunk at this when I was in Vegas, letting them, and then getting like a little bit of a contact lens from them and being goofy with them. Although they didn't remember from the time that I did. But I've been in the right energetic match and being able to have clear thoughts so that you can be, a channel for manifesting whatever it is you want in your life.
right. So let's talk about manifestation, because we've all heard about it. Everyone's heard about the law of attraction, unless you live under a rock. You haven't heard about it, but it's very popular, and it's always, you have vision boards and things like that. But what are some steps to help more quickly manifest something into your life? Like I'm for example, I'm going through good things, nothing bad, but projects that I just feel like could be sped up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I need to kind of manifest that, speeding it up. I know it's going to happen. I believe in it. I can see it. I can visualize it. But it's like there's something just kind of stuck just a little bit, and I feel like it's like this 2-month stuckness. I need to manifest, like, making it happen sooner so I can sign a lease in New York or wherever. Until then, I'm going to be living out of a suitcase, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So you already said so much of it. Like it is being in that right energetic match. So if you're trying to call in, I don't know specifics, obviously. But let's say someone who wants to call in a relationship. They want to call in a relationship, the whole manifestation story of my boyfriend and I. For those that are listening, Madsen has also interviewed my boyfriend. So
yes, 2 episodes. He's on 2 episodes.
I had 2 episodes. Look at him.
We went to college together.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah, like years.
So it's like, okay, these are the qualities that I want in a man, right? Okay, they should just be those, right? No, they shouldn't just be those. Like you can't just find a man. You have to be the same energetic match. You want someone who's successful. You have to be successful yourself. It doesn't mean you have to be like apples to apples. But you have to actually think about that. Like, okay, am I doing the best that I can? Because I want to call somebody super successful in. If I want someone who is attractive, am I doing like my work in the gym? You want someone who is, honest. Am I being honest about everything in my life with everyone in my life? When someone family oriented, like, yeah, you don't call your parents ever, or don't spend time with nieces and nephews. It's like you have to be in that right energetic match. So you have to ask yourself, are you all of those things? So whatever it is that you're trying to call in, it's like, okay, believe that they're already here. Know that you are all of those things that you want to call in already. Somebody wants to be successful, just believe, just know. Like, what does the word successful even mean? It's all relative. But like if you're in that energetic match where you're like, everything that I'm doing is working out. I did this really well today. And you're seeing those little wins, those steps along the way with like full gratitude, and tells the universe like you're ready for more of this. You're ready for more. Not like getting stuck on, but I'm not there yet. No, you are there. Like believe you're already there.
I like that, because for a long time, and a lot of people around me kind of, knew this and they couldn't understand, and it was kind of a running joke. But I had dated a guy who was a reverse gold digger. I just called him reverse gold digger because, like, I wasn't good enough for him, basically.
I love that term. But
yeah, I was like, wait, you're supposed to be the really successful. What the fuck? Like, you're older. Like, no. He was basically like, I need somebody who makes more money than I do. I need to make up for all the money that I have to give to my ex-wife through the divorce. And I'm like,
oh my God,
how am I part of this problem? Like, I'm out, right? But at the time, now I look back and I laugh and I say, oh, that's fine. But at the time I was like, rushing and pushing and pushing and pushing to be successful so I'd be good enough for this person so they wouldn't leave. Now I look back and I'm like, God, I wish I could have kicked the shit out of my younger self. Like, who on their right mind? I should have just been like, bye, blah, blah, blah. So, and then I met somebody who was like really, really successful. We're talking money wise.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I was enough. And so I kind of created this funny internal dialogue in a way, but it was like my life was playing on this, you know, I'm not going to date till I'm rich because nobody will want me until I can like bring a lot of money to the table. And all my girlfriends were like, seriously? Like, what do you think's like that?
Yeah.
My excuse to keep myself protected to where it was like, okay, now it's because I'm like, okay, once I like am more successful in my life and things are working out, I'll be more confident and be able to be like, no, I don't want you because now I have all the power.
Yeah.
But it's
And the funny thing that was what you said, it was you were keeping yourself safe. And actually that perfectionist mindset of like, no, I got to do more. Do I have to do more? Sort of validating your own self is like, that's a losing game. Like that's a losing battle. Like, 10 times out of 10, we're going to lose that one. And so it's actually the most unsafe place that you can be is in that mindset. Because that mindset, again, is you're always going to lose. So where's the safety and the security in that? Because it's never going to be enough. If we're in that place of scarcity, that mindset, it's like, it's constantly not enough. And when it shows up at your door, you can't even see it because you're like, but there should be another zero there. There should be another, should be taller, whatever it is, it's never going to be enough, even if whatever it is knocks on your door when we're in those mindsets. And believe me, I have been there. And there are times where it's not just like, it's the scarcity mindset. But when we replay those stories over and over in our head, those stories become our thoughts, and those thoughts manifest in crazy ways when we allow them to. And I think as females, we also can tell we can really make up a good story, like a really good, juicy story. It's probably why we should all be like fiction writers, because I feel like some of the stories that I play out in my head are literally like the most ridiculous thing.
I know. And we tend to do that when we feel vulnerable. This would be the word, to where it's just like, oh my gosh, like blah, blah, blah. But yeah, you're right. It's like I was keeping myself safe by keeping myself away from any relationship or dating game. But I probably missed out on a lot of great stuff too. Although I'm happy because work's going great and everything's been good. But there's more to life than just work.
Yeah.
And like friends and family, there's another part of a life too. So it's like I have to be more open. I need a healer. Good God, I need
Anytime you want a session, let me know.
I know. When I get back to New York, I'm like, I gotta come over. Like something's going on here. But okay, so what are some manifestation tips and tricks for work? Let's go to work. Because I feel like a lot of people, relationships are always so talked about. So let's talk about the good shit. Money.
Yeah. Yeah. So in career, it's like, know that it's already there. Know that you're protected. Know that whatever you ask for is coming your way. Like really, truly sit in that and believe it. So when you start to visualize that, visualization is so key to manifesting anything really. But when you start to like write yourself a letter, like when this happens, like congratulations, Madison, this happened. And this is the career path. This is what's happening. Write it from someone externally. Write it from your future self. Whatever works for you. Like write the letter. Put those words on paper. It's like when someone says like, if you want to make $1 million or something, put a check for $1 million in your office and sign it and look at it every day. Like it's so true. It's cheesy, but it's true. When you start to write the letters, visualize them, and have them front and center. So I work in sales, and every single month I write exactly what's going to come out. I write it, and I'm not always spot on, but I'm pretty close. And it's the times when something comes in that I take a moment to have that full gratitude. So when something successful happens, sometimes we just move on to the next thing because it's like, what's next? What's next? What's next? Where are we going? And it's like, take a moment, take a pause, celebrate it, talk about it. Like we don't talk about our success enough. we talk about failures all the time, but I don't think that we always talk about success. And I think when we talk about success, when we open up to it, we start to voice it, then more of it can come in. It's that true appreciation and sharing with other people. And again, just like getting those words out. It's the same thing with negative energy. We need to get the negative energy away from us and off of us. I think with positive energy, we need to expand on it by voicing it and writing it and seeing it. Like, take all your senses and like go through all of them and like touch that piece of paper, touch that email, like touch your computer, like touch what it is, someone's words. See it, feel it, taste it, all the things.
No, that's great. That's absolutely great advice. Yeah. So, I mean, I had a new blank cardboard thing that was sitting behind me. Oh, it's sitting on the side of me. It's supposed to be my new vision board. But of course, I haven't done anything with it. So now this is motivating me. I'm going to have a vision board and I'm going to post a picture. Actually, I'm not going to post a picture. I'm going to send you the picture because I don't want everyone to know my shit.
That's the other thing. It's like, don't sleep on it. You know, like the more we procrastinate, we're keeping ourselves safe. We're keeping ourselves safe by procrastinating from success. Why would you want to procrastinate your manifestations? Like, call them in today. Like, do it today. Every first of the month, I sit down and I write my goals for the month. And that shit happens so quickly. Like, it happens in a week. I need to start doing it daily rather than just monthly. Like, when you put it on paper, when you put it in your mind, you see it, you visualize it, you go to bed thinking about it. And then also, don't be attached. Don't be attached to whatever it is, because at the end of the day, something better might come along. And if we don't see what that is that's better, if we're not open to it, then we would have no idea. Just like the rental that you're coming to in New York City, it's the best thing ever, you know. But we can't go ahead and assume or start playing the story in our head. Like, let it play out.
You're exactly right. And I think, you know, the more I kind of think about it, and I'm like, you know what? This person is the one that's dragging me back, but that's not the reason I have to be in New York. And I'm actually very excited about all the things and my friends I'm going to see. And we're going to have dinner with you and your boyfriend and all these fun things we're going to do and all these just opportunities and business meetings that will be finally face to face versus on Zoom. So yeah, it is a very exciting time. And looking at it from that instead of saying like, oh my God, I have so much packing to do. I don't know what to bring. I don't want to overpack. It's like, just put the shit in the bag and go have fun, you know?
Yeah. It's like, it's funny because I always talk about the main character, like the main character of our life. Like, we are the main character. We're not the supporting actress. Like, this person who's making you come back to New York City, whatever the situation is, like, they're not the main character. Like, you are. They're just a supporting actor or actress in the movie that you're playing in, and they're just a little side role. But you're the main character. You pack that bag with all your beautiful belongings, your like awesome winter clothes. Like, I feel like you probably have some really great boots in that closet of yours. Like, bring all of those. Like, get your main character vibe going. And when we live every single day, like, we are the main fucking character. Like, we begin to show up like that to everyone else in our life.
I like that analogy because
sorry for awkward.
I could like feel it in my body when you were saying that. Like, wow, like this is a movie. This is the movie of your life. Like, you are the star. Like, show up like that.
Yeah, when we start to live like that, our whole entire world changes. It's like, yeah, we have people in our life that are beautiful and great, and these relationships are amazing, but I'm still the main character. Like, I have group sessions that I offer, and oftentimes in those sessions, when we start to say like the I am statements, a lot of individuals will say like, I am a loving mother. I am a loving wife. Well, great. I'm happy you're a loving mother and a loving wife. And that's an amazing thing to be. But who are you? You know, who are you? Or we relate to our job. Like, I am, da, da, da. I am, and this is my title. Well, that has nothing to do with who I am at my core, but we associate so much of our worth to that. The main character in the movie, you know, is more and more expressive. And there's so many more adjectives to describe that individual than just like, I am Kate. There's more.
No, that's exactly right. Well, I mean, this has been amazing. I can't believe how fast like our time has flown by.
Okay.
So before we go, I want to make sure that you tell everyone like where they can find you, where they can sign up for a session, all that good stuff. Because I feel, you know, I'm definitely going to sign up for a session because I feel like just kind of working with you on this stuff and will help me get quicker to my goals, you know, or get to my goals faster.
Well, I love
Okay,
that.
where do we find you?
Yeah, so my Instagram is I am Kate Griffith. My website is also iamkategriffith.com. I have virtual sessions that I offer in a group session. So it's a breathwork session. We go over all of the logistics. We go over all of the practice in the session. So if someone is new to breathwork, like don't be scared. There's nothing to be scared of. It's a really great deep meditation, and you'll get so much clarity out of it. So I offer group sessions on Sundays and sometimes on Mondays as well. And then if anyone's local to the Jersey City area, I also do my breathwork sessions at Om Life Wellness here in Jersey City.
Oh, okay. So you guys definitely go check her out. Everybody needs a little help in the healing, getting out of our own way, manifestation. So this is an episode I think that people should listen to maybe a couple times too. And just remember, you are the star of your life, and you were the star of my podcast. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to sit with us and talk about that. Yeah, and you guys go live your best life. And thanks for tuning into another episode of Next to Madison. And we'll see you next time to find out who's next.
Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms, and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@nexttomadison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.